today the questions are going to start looking a lot more complicated after day 3. Right? We're going to have a lot more numbers, a lot more x's. Walking around, I can tell that a lot of you guys are noticing some higher level ways of solving. On the back side, I'm going to highlight some things if you haven't noticed yet. So the first page, so everything we need to learn how to do. And if you're still kind of like treading water here, everything's feeling a little difficult, you don't have to worry about the second way. The second way I think is easier on the second side of the page. But if you're not ready for it, that's okay. The first page will cover everything you need to be able to do. So today, we are looking at we're going to start with the right hand side of the page and go over to the left. What happens when we have lots of letters and lots of numbers, right? So we have to connect solving equations to how we did working with polynomials. Basically, we have like a polynomial on the left hand side and a polynomial on the right hand side. So we need to clean up the polynomials before we can solve, right? So what we need to do is we need to combine all of our like terms, right? So when we combine our like terms, we split at the equal sign, and we simplify the left side, and we simplify the right side. Then after we got that, we start doing our solving stuff. So if I ignore this side here, and I go, okay, this is my wall, I can't go past here, I'm going to find my like terms. So remember, like terms is I have an A here and an A here. I want to combine those together, right? And when I do that, you take the signs in front. So there was a couple different ways we did this in January. We did it in our heads, or we wrote a calculation off the side. We did 2 plus 4, right? What do we get? 6, and we have 6A, right? And then we combined our constant terms, right? And we have a 3, we can write it off to the side, 3 plus 8, and what do we get? Right?
13.
3 plus 8? Not 13. 11, right? And this is going back to January. If we simplified our polynomial, and I went like this, and I said, hey, this does not look quite right because every single term needs to be separated by a sign, right? So what's missing here in between these two things? Plus sign. So that's positive 11, right? On the right-hand side, there's only the one number there, so there's no cleaning up to do. Okay? So now, this becomes a day 2 question. We only have one letter, and it's okay to have a couple numbers on both sides of the thing, right? So now we can start solving. So we go like this. We cover it up. We have a 6 and 11. Which one do we get rid of first? 11, the constant. Do we add, subtract to get rid of the 11?
Subtract.
Subtract. That's why it's important to keep that sign there, so you know what the sign is. So we can do the opposite. So subtract 11 here, subtract 11 here. We do our canceling. We're left with a 6A. And on the other side, we're left with a 4. 15 minus 11. Okay, and then we cover it up and go, okay, we're not quite done yet. So notice the left side still staying on the left, the right side still staying on the right. We cover this side up. How do we get rid of the 6? Divide. Divide by 6. Divide by 6. The 6's go away. A is equal to 4 over 6. And that fraction can be reduced. Divide by 2, right? So if you divide by 2, we can say A is 2 over 3. Okay? I'll do the next one with you, then I'll have you do C by yourself. Right? So this one, it's a little bit trickier because we have plus signs and minus signs. So when we are combining our like terms, remember we need to take the sign into consideration. Is it a positive number? Is it a negative number? Right? Now, it doesn't matter which way you combine first. You can pick your letters or you can pick your numbers. It doesn't matter. Right? Whatever you find easier. Let's go with numbers first. We have 8 here and a 5 here. So the calculation I write down is 8 minus 5. Right? Because you got to take that sign. Because this sign belongs to the 5. What number did we get?
What if
Yes,
what if that 8 had a sign to its left too? 2.
then you'd have to write it down. All right?
Okay. So it's always the sign to the left they use?
Yeah, the sign to the left belongs to the number.
Okay.
Yeah? So, what number did we get here? All right, what's 8 minus 5? 3. Now, I remember going back to January, some people didn't like this horizontal method. Some people preferred stacking the things. And you can still stack the numbers together if you want. So you could go 8 minus 5 like this and do your calculation like that, if you prefer that way. Right? Next up, we have our b's. We take the signs in front. We have a 6 minus 2. And eventually you get good at this. You don't even need to write the things down on the side, but I'm trying to make connections to what we did earlier. And what do we get there? 4. And these are b's, so don't forget your b. And is it plus 4 or minus 4? Plus, right? And everything else stays the same. Okay. All right. So now, what number do we get rid of first? The 3, the 4, or the 13? 3. We cover up this side, right? It doesn't have the letter. Plus 3 or minus 3? Minus 3. There you go, minus 3 here. Should have done that in gray. There we go. The 3's go away. We're left with a 4b. On the other side, we're left with a 13 minus 3, which is a 10. Right? This is easy. You guys are so fast, right? How do you get rid of the 4? Divide, fraction line, right? Fraction line for your dividing. Fraction line, oh, that should have been a nicer 10. There we go. The 4's go away. You have 10 over 4. Can we simplify that fraction? Yes, they're both evens. Divide by 2. Right? This is the pace what grade 10 is going to feel like when you're going through the equations. It's like boom, 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 right? There's lots of different steps, right? You'll get there, right? Okay, so the next one, slightly trickier, right? I'm going to ask you for now, split at the equal sign, ignore this side. Can you simplify this side for me? Just simplify that. Collect the C's together, collect the numbers together. What do you get? Do it by yourself. All right? Collect the C's together, collect the numbers together. What do you get? Yeah. We'll talk about that later on. So just keep it there for now. Right? Keep it there for now. Right? Yeah. On one.
Do I do the 2 with the C?
You do 2 C's together. All right. Good. Nice. I think we're there. Okay. So we collected our numbers together. You get 5 plus 4, you get 9. My phone, why did you just stop working? Do I need to replace you? We get 9. We collect our C's together. 7 and 3 makes 10. I'm going to do double line. The other side, I said leave it alone. So we're going to write it down as the same. Okay? When you're simplifying, you only simplify one side with the other side. You can't take this C from over here and directly move it over here and call it 10 plus 2 gives us 12. It doesn't work. Okay? So now, at this stage, we have a little bit of a dilemma. We have letters on both sides of the question. Right? So to solve, we need to have letters all on one side. And it doesn't matter what side you want to have the letters on. It's a choice you make. Right? So here, at this stage, if you have letters on both sides, you have to make a choice. where do you want your letters? On the left side or on the right hand side? What about the students? So what do you think? Left? Okay. Sure, it doesn't matter, right? So on top of here, I'm going to write down a little reminder of the decision we made. So we decided numbers to go here and letters to go here. So I'm going to just put the X here, right? Just to remind us of the decision you made, right? You can make it the other way around, but that's what you decided. Okay, so now that means this 2C doesn't belong here, right? And that means this 9 doesn't belong here. So let's get rid of that 9 first. How do you get rid of that 9? Minus. It's positive 9, subtract 9. Now, I can go like this. I can go minus 9. Oh, let's use gray. Minus 9 here. Now, over here, I have to go minus 9. Once per side, right? Where do I put it? Do I put it under the 16 or do I put it under the 2? 16. Like term with like term. Put it under the number. So it goes here. It goes minus 9. Okay, now we clean it up. Here we go. Okay, 9 minus 9 is 0, so those disappeared. You're left with just your 10C. On the other side, we clean up this. 16 minus 9, what do we get there? 7. So I write down my 7. And that 2C had nothing to combine with, so it stays the same. So we're looking pretty good here, right? Our decision was to have our letters over here, our numbers over here, all of our numbers over here. We just need to move our letters to over here. How do you think we get rid of that 2C? Because it doesn't belong on that side. That wasn't our decision. How do we get rid of that 2C? Right?
Divide by 2 on the 2. And
So
divide the 10 by.
that would be right if you just wanted to get rid of only the 2. You want to get rid of the 2 and the C. So if you want to move a whole term from one side to the other, we do it like the 9s. We add and subtract that whole term. So you want to get rid of that 2 and the C, so we add or subtract to get rid of it. So the opposite of plus 2C is minus 2C. So you go subtract 2C. Because that's going to cancel both the 2 and the C out. And then you go, oh, maybe I should have done a different color. Subtract 2C. Subtract 2C. Like term above like term. Right? I'll scroll this up here. Right? So you do our cleaning up. Right? See how it's getting more complicated? You got to keep the left side on the left, the right on the right, so things don't get too messy. So we cleaned it up. 10 minus 2, 8. So we left with our 8C here. Those canceled out. We left with a 7. Okay. All right. So we're not done. It's a lot more work, right? You gotta keep the goal in mind. The goal is to have the letter by itself, right? Now this side only has letters. This side's just all constants, right? Cover up this side. How do we get rid of that 8? Divide. Divide 8. Okay. Divide 8 here. Divide 8 here. Those 8s disappear. These 8 divided by 8 is 1. You're left with just 7 over 8. And that's it. A lot more steps involved, right? The left side of the page adds another step. What happens if we have brackets? Right? So the way this is going to go, we add extra numbers, we add extra little letters, and we add in extra brackets. How do you deal with the brackets? Then we're going to add in extra fractions. How do you deal with fractions? And that's basically the end of the unit. Right? So the only thing we really haven't dealt with is with fractions. So we're going to do it with brackets now. So we're going to go over to this side before I start talking about easier things. So we were working with polynomials, and we came across a property I said was called the distributive property. Right? When we were working with polynomials, we went like this and go, hey, the stuff inside the brackets are not like terms, so we couldn't add or subtract them. right? One's a letter, one's a number, you can't combine them, so we needed a different way to get around it. So we use something called the distributive property, right? So right, let's write it down. Distributive.
We're gonna distribute.
Yeah. So we need a way to get the x or the letter outside of the brackets, right? It's stuck inside the brackets. We can't add and subtract like terms to get it out of there, so we need another way to get out of it. You see, at the end, we want x equals something, and we can't do that if it's stuck inside of a bracket. So here, normal bed math thing we talked about, so 3 plus 4 is 7, sorry, and times 2 was 14, right? What we talked about the distributive method was the rainbow. So we took this number on the outside and then multiplied everything on the inside. So we did 2 times 3 is 6. Then you did 2 times 4, that's positive 8. So 6 plus 8, you add those together, you get 14. So we just found a different way to get around the bed math rules. Right? So this is what we're going to have to do to get the x out of the bracket so we can solve. Right? So going back, maybe let's skip the one there. No, skip this one?
No, go.
All right. Okay, we can do it. All right. Okay, let's do this one. So to get the x out of the brackets, we need to take this 4 from the outside and we multiply it to the first term inside the bracket. So I multiply those two things together. What do I write down? 4x. 4 times x is just 4x. And then I take that 4 and I multiply it to, change colors, to the next thing in the brackets. So you go 4 times 0.6. Right? So what number do we get there? 2.4. Is it positive 2.4 or negative 2.4? Negative. Because a positive and a negative makes a negative. So minus 2.4. Right? And remember, this 4 only multiplies this bracket. It doesn't go all the way to the other side of this equal sign. It's only touching the bracket. So it stops at the bracket. On the other side, we have the 3.2 just sitting there. The 4 does not multiply it. The 4 is only multiplying the stuff inside the brackets. All right? Is that okay? Okay, so now, the easy part of the question, right? Split at the equal sign. Cover up the side that doesn't have the letter. The 4 versus the 2.4. Which one do we do first? 2.4, right? We add 2.4 here. We add 2.4 here. Those 2.4s cancel each other out. We're left with just a 4x on the left side. What do we have on the right-hand side? 5.6. Okay. Then we want to get rid of that 4. Divide it. All right, so we divide by 4, divide by 4. Since our question has decimals in it, we're not going to leave it as a fraction. We're actually going to calculate this. So I can grab my calculator, go like this, turn it on. I go 5.6 divided by 4, and we get 1.4. Right? That's it. Right? So right now, probably lots of stuff going in your head. Lots and lots and lots of stuff is going on. It's normal, all right? I'm going to do a couple more of these and see how the time it is. And then on the back side, I'm hoping to teach you a different technique. Which you can't keep on adding things on. We need to know other ways to do these questions faster. So I'm going to teach you a different technique. Hopefully make things go a little bit faster, all right? If not, we'll wait till the next class to do that. We'll see how we're doing. All right. I want you to split this at the equal sign here. And now spend 30 seconds and use the distributive property and clean up those brackets. Get that x outside of the brackets. What do you got? And if you feel comfortable, after that, solve it. But I'll show up here on how to solve it as well. So use your arrows, right? Do the multiplication what do you get? And start solving it. All right. There we go. Good. Nice, easy. Nicely done. Good. Good, nicely done.
-8?
Yes, this 2 times 4 is 8, and that's a negative sign there. So there's a negative 8. Oh, I forgot to do the second multiplication, right? 2 times 4.
I thought it was
Negative.
minus because they had.
Right? It's all multiplying. Good. So 20 divided by 2. Right?
So then what about this one?
So this one, you go this times this would be just 1.2x.
Oh.
And this times this would be. Alright, good. Nicely done. I have this one. Oh, I don't know it off the top of my head.
Oh, yeah.
The answer. I'd ask you to do it. There we go.
What did you get, Will, on this one? Yeah.
Wait.
Would be 3.6.
That's not bad. Mine is 1.4. Right? So
Wait, is
1.4.
this right?
Oh, 3.6? Yeah,
It
3.6.
is 3.6.
It is?
Because you times.
Look at this.
What, 2.4 take away 3.6?
1.2 times.
You did 2.4
Good.
Can you read it
Good.
because you see it?
6 is what? 1?
Negative 1.2.
You know
So
what I'm saying?
2 times 4. And then do the arrow. That should be
Yeah, this one, the distributive property.
And multiply both things. Alright?
The multiple term one's a little
That
confusing.
you
So that's right.
Those are
No, because
Use your calculator, Will.
negative 1.2 divided by 1.2 is negative 1, not 1. But you close.
Now,
Yeah.
which number do you
Yeah,
get rid
but
of?
you got
2
close.
or the 8?
If I had my calculator, I would have got it.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Okay,
Yeah. That's correct. I haven't done the other one. Nice. Oh,
Well,
cooking one.
good.
I'm really trying to be nice to you today, but if you keep on saying, what's up, brother, I'm gonna lose it.
What's that, really?
Okay.
I walk around.
Makes me so happy. You guys have got this. Now, the biggest mistake I saw is people not doing the second arrow. Right? Make sure you multiply everything. People are just writing down 2, or they're just writing down the 4. They're not doing the multiplication. That 2 times 4 is 8. Make it a negative. Right? And that's the mistake that most of you guys made on when we were doing the polynomials. Yes, Griffin?
I go to wash it.
Gracie's gone. Once you go back, okay? Actually, wait till the second side of the notes. We're gonna do a trick. So we add 8 to both sides. The 8's go away. We're left with the 2x equals 20. Then we just divide by the 2. I know both of you guys are there. And 20 divided by 2 is just 10. Okay, I don't think we're gonna do the one on the right hand side because I think you guys got this. I want to go to the question on the back. All right, then I'll remind you next day.
That's not we did it right. For the
We already done that one?
No.
Oh, you did that one?
Yeah.
All right, that's okay. Okay, so we're adding a whole bunch of extra x's, a whole bunch of extra numbers and brackets all over the place. Some things just need to get easier, so we're not having to get bogged down on all the steps. Now, if you're comfortable with the stuff that you did in the first page, you don't need to use the techniques that we're going to show you on the second side of the page. All right? I'm hoping it'll be helpful, but some people, I understand it won't be helpful. Okay, so over here, on the right-hand side of this page, we're going to split all 4 questions at the equal sign. We are not going to solve these questions. I just want to do the first step. Right? So, with the first step, they split all 4 in there. On the very first question, the top left-hand corner, I cover up the 12, and I go, hey, which number do I want to get rid of first? The 5. How do I get rid of it? Negative 5. So I want you to go minus 5, minus 5. Let's do that. Okay? And you're going to do the same question, same thing to the next question. Okay? You go, okay, cover up the 7, 2 or the 3? The 3. Plus 3 or minus 3? Plus 3. So, okay. Plus 3, plus 3. Excellent. All right. Next one. 3 or the 6? 3. Plus 3 or minus 3? Plus. You want the 3's to just disappear. To make zeros. Plus 3 there. Plus 3 here. All right. Next up. 2 or the 5? Plus 2 or minus 2? Minus 2. Okay. Minus 2. Oops, red. Minus 2. Okay. Now, usually when we do this, the next step is we cancel and calculate. Let's just do the canceling here. So if I cancel this, and I cancel this, cancel this, and cancel this. Cancel, 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 cancel. Okay? I need you to notice a pattern. I wanted to get rid of this 5. It canceled off to this side and showed up over here like this. I wanted to cancel this 3. I canceled this 3. It showed up like this on the other side. I wanted to cancel this 3. I canceled it and it showed up like this on the other side. I wanted to cancel this 2. It showed up like this on the other side. What do you notice of how it canceled and how it showed up on the other side?
It's the opposite number.
It's the opposite. As you go across the equal sign, the number becomes the opposite. Right? If you can use that, questions can come a lot faster. Because now we have numbers on the left side and the right side. And if you just realize all you have to do is make a term the opposite. If you want to move an entire term, it becomes the opposite on the other side. So you don't have to worry about adding and subtracting. I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to move it to the other side, and I'm going to make it the opposite. So over here, if I go like this, so now you don't have to do this. You can go through all the steps that we did on the first page. That's not a big deal. If I go like this, I split this at the equal sign, like here. We have numbers on one side and x's all over the place. We need to make the decision first, is what side you want your letters on, what side your numbers on. So you know how to move things around. Pick a side. William, x is left or right?
Left.
Left, right? So William picked x's on the left, so I'm just going to write it down. The decision we made. X is here, numbers here. Okay, so I can go from left to right. If the term does not belong on the side, I'm just going to pick it up. I'm going to move it to the other side. All right? So I'm going to go here, starting here. I go, okay, is this 4x where it belongs?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Okay, that's fine. Is the 5 where it belongs? No. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to throw it on the other side. How's it going to look like on the other side?
-5.
-5. Now, I can write it -5 here, like this, -5. But I know what my next step is when we adding combining like terms. I'm going to take it, I'm going to just put it underneath the 12. So I'm going to go like this, I'm going to go goodbye 5. I'm going to move it under here to the other side as its opposite. All right? Then I go over to this side, I go, hey, is 12 fine here?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Is the 2x fine? No. So I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to move it to the other side, and write it as the opposite. So, hey, I already have x's sitting here. I'm just going to write it as an x, but it's opposite. I'm going to get rid of this 2x. It's a positive. I'm going to write it as a minus 2x here, and I can get rid of this. Okay? So now we're going to do our cleanup. For minus 2, we got 2x. 12 minus 5. What do we get there? 7. Okay? Now, the numbers are on the number side, the letters are on the letter side. We just need to get the x all by itself. So that 2 is attached to the x. How do we get rid of that 2?
Divide.
Divide. Is multiplying, so opposite of multiplying is divide. Oops, gray. Let's do gray. Gray, 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. The 2's go away. X is 7 over 2. Much more complicated question, but if you notice the patterns and how the equations work, you can go a lot faster through it. All right? Let's do another one. Let's go over here. And it doesn't matter what side you pick the x's to go onto, right? Now my suggestion is, if you can pick the side that makes them positive, that's the only tip I would give. Pick the side that makes them positive, because then you don't have to deal with an extra or negative. Other than that, it doesn't really matter. So on here, left side or right side for your x's? Probably where do you want them? X's, left or right? Right side. So probably pick it to the right hand side. So we're going to put x's here this time. All right? It doesn't matter. So x is here, numbers here. Okay? So we go left to right and we move it around. If it's moving across the equal sign, it becomes its opposite. So the 9x, is it on the side where we want it to be? No. We pick it up, we move it to the other side as its opposite. And if I see an x sitting there, I'm going to stack it underneath the x. Goodbye, 9x. Off to the other side you go. All right.
Sorry.
All right. So, next up, the 2. Is it fine where it is? Is this okay? Yeah. The 7? Okay, pick it up, move it to the other side. It's positive 7. So we move the sign over to the other side. Minus 7. Goodbye, 7. Then the x is already on the x side. So now we just do our cleanup. All right? So we got 2 minus 7. We get negative 5. What do we have for the x's? Negative 2 minus 9. What do we get there? Minus 11. All right? So now we divide to get the x by itself. It's negative 11, so we have to divide by negative 11. Divide by negative 11. Divide by negative 11. So the x here, the 2 negative signs cancel each other out, so just 5 over 11. Right. Now if we move the x's to the other side in this question, the x would have been positive. We wouldn't have to worry about this extra negative sign. It doesn't really matter. It's just slight little, makes it slightly easier. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, go ahead. All right? Okay. Do you want to try one on your own? No?
Not one of those ones, though.
Okay. Okay, this is a little bit harder. Let's do this one here. Okay. Pick a side you want the x's. Olivia, I'm going to have you pick. Left for the x's. And that makes sense because the other side doesn't have any x's. All right? So why would you want to pick them up and move it to the other side when it's not even there?
What was the answer for the last one?
5 over 11.
It was positive.
Yeah, 2 negatives cancel each other out. All right. So now we just go left to right and you get rid of the terms that don't belong. So first term, 7x, is it okay there? Yeah. X side. How about this 3? No. How's it looking like on the other side? Positive 3. Now, over here we have a 15 and a 6. Where do we put it? You can put it beside it. You can put it underneath any one of them. It doesn't really matter. It just needs to show up on this side. So I'll put it over here. I'll take this and I'll move it there. Right? Right? Then we have this 2x. Is this okay here? Yeah. X on x. 8. Is it okay here? Positive or negative on the other side? Negative. So I'm going to pick up this 8 and move it to the other side. Make it negative 8. Okay. The 15, is it okay? Yeah. The 6, is it okay? Okay, so now everything is where it belongs. Now, instead of things being stacked, they're just written horizontally. That's fine. You have 7x plus 2x. You combine our x's together. What do we get? 9x. Right? And we have our equal sign. And over here, just grab your calculator and just run it through your calculator. 15 minus 6 plus 3 minus 8. All right? You can do it in your head if you want, but that's what calculators are for. So just grab the calculator and just go all these numbers right through the calculator. 15 minus 6 plus 3 minus 8 equals 4. Right? Okay. All right. Now, how do we get rid of that 9? Divide. So, divide by 9 here, divide by 9 here, and they have x is equal to 4/9. Okay. Now, there is one more strategy I want to show you. Is that this, I just focused on moving things on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, right? You could have done what we did on our first page as well. Like sometimes things start getting a little confusing. We have more terms here. You could have, like say on this question here, you could have just cleaned up the left side because there's multiple x's here and multiple numbers here. And you could have just cleaned up the right-hand side because there's multiple things in here. Then start moving things around. So here, if I said, okay, I'm going to ignore this side, I'm just going to clean up this side and go, okay, I have a 5x here and a minus 2x here. I got a 3x there. And I go with the 6's. I get a 6 here and a plus 9 here. I combine those together, I get 15. Notice we're not swapping signs because we're not going onto the other side of the equal sign. We're just cleaning up one side at a time. On the other side, we go over here. We go, oh, we have, let's do blue. Number here and a number here. So we have 4 minus 20, which is negative 16. And we have negative 6 and plus 3 makes negative 3x. Right, so now our minds all work differently. You have to pick your own preference of what works easier for you. You can just, at the beginning, you can move things around or you can clean it up. Either way, it doesn't really matter.
So we can do what we did on the last question or this.
Or this, yeah, whatever you find easier. All right? Because some people rather not just move 8 or 9 different things around. You rather just move 2 or 3 things around. So you clean up one side, you clean up the other side, and you just go from there. So now, we do the same thing here. Now, since we have multiple x's and multiple numbers, right? You pick the side that you want the x's on. You want it on the left side or you want it on the right side? Where do you want the x's? Where do you, left, I heard left. So you put our x's here. That means our numbers are going to go over here. Right? So the 3x is fine where it belongs. We're going to pick up the 15 and we're going to move it to the other side so it becomes its opposite now, right? If you're moving it from one side to the other, it becomes its opposite. So 15's gone here. I'm going to stack it underneath the other number. So goodbye 15. Right? 16's okay where it is. I need to pick up this 3x and I'm going to move it to the other side. What do I write down? Plus 3x. Yeah, you want to include the sign, right? So you know if you're adding or you're subtracting. So combine those together. We have 6x here. Combine that together. Negative 31. Right? So this is what this chapter makes it difficult. There's not just one way to get the answer. As long as you're doing your steps mathematically correct, I'll give you all the credit. What's easier? I might find your method not the most efficient, but that doesn't really matter. It's what's easier, right? So we have the equal sign, and simply just divide by 6, and our answer is negative 31 over 6. And that's it. Right? And unfortunately, we're not going to teach math again until next week, Wednesday. So we'll do a little bit of review before we start working on our assignment. This is a lot, but you guys seem to be getting it.